Good evening, folks. I trust you're all well. We've seen a lot online the past few days since the big fight this past weekend. Of people saying that Ryan Garcia quit against Gervonta Davis on Saturday night. Now, I find it very interesting that a lot of the people I've seen call him a quitter online, the usual social media keyboard warriors that have never laced a glove on in their life, or never thrown a punch in their life, or let alone taken a punch in their life, are usually the first ones to come out and accuse professional fighters of being quitters. And I find it very interesting. Now, unless you've taken a full-blooded body shot, or even a glancing body shot, especially to the liver, as I have when I was younger, you don't know what it fucking feels like. And it's a demoralising, sickening feeling. And plus, obviously, with boxing, professional boxing, or any combat sport, but especially boxing, there's this big thing about, the machismo, the macho, you can't quit, you've got to be a warrior, you've got to keep going. And I totally understand that, and I totally get it. I mean, one of my idols, one of my boxing idols, Roberto Duran, famously quit against Sugar Ray Leonard in their rematch in 1980. The infamous no mask fight, and yeah, he quit. He wasn't particularly hurt, he just was getting flummoxed and outboxed, and he gave up. To me, that was an unforgivable thing to do. As much as I love Duran, that was an unforgivable thing to do. He just quit. He just had enough, threw his hands up, said, basically I quit. But what happened to Garcia, I wouldn't class that in the same thing. It wasn't a shameful act if he did quit. I mean, I've seen several people whose opinions I respect, and opinions I usually share, say online, past few days, couple of days. Oh yeah, he could have probably gone on, but he chose not to. He chose to fight another day. And again, he's only a young man. I totally agree with that. I mean, his nose was bloodied. He was behind. He was probably going to get a bit of a walloping if that fight carried on. So, yeah, I don't necessarily think it was a bad thing if he did quit. Live to fight another day. I mean, with all we know medical science today, do you really want to see young guys like that getting a fucking thrashing and ending up brain damaged or worse? So that's one way of looking at it. However, I find it particularly interesting. This is the article that prompted me to make this video this evening. I saw Julio Cesar Chavez Senior, that is, on social media, basically saying something along the lines of he'll never watch a Ryan Garcia fight ever again because he's a disgrace, essentially, and he quit. And he's never going to watch a fight of his ever again, which I find quite interesting. And I'll give you a couple of points. One, didn't Chavez Jr., Chavez Senior's son, infamously quit on his stool against Danny Jacobs a couple of years ago? Also his son's a quitter. He's never going to watch his own son fight. I know he was disappointed that night. I remember watching the fight and seeing his reaction in the corner. And also, didn't Chavez Senior himself quit in 1998? I know it was a long time ago, 25 years ago, when he had his rematch against Oscar De La Hoya. I saw that fight live at the time. I've seen it since a couple of times, and he definitely quit. And he got very upset when he thought that Larry Merchant, the American broadcaster, commentator, when he thought that he was being accused of quitting, he got very, very angry. But he did quit. He'd had enough. He was getting a bit of a pasting, and he just basically, I've had enough. So, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. I get it. Unless you're under that pressure, you're in that situation, you're taking the damage, you're taking the punishment, you don't know how you're going to react. You don't know how your brain's going to work. Like, fuck it. Is this worth it? Is it worth putting my fucking life and health on the line? But yeah, again, it's a personal thing. This is all just my opinion, people. If you disagree, that's absolutely fine. I totally understand. I get it all. It's very difficult it's very difficult unless you're in that situation to throw barbs and call people quitters and write them off. I mean, it happened to Victor Ortiz when he basically shook his head and said he couldn't go on against Maidana in 2009. Everyone called him a quitter and took the piss out of him when he, Josecito Lopez, when he had his jaw broken against him and basically pulled out. Everyone shit on him and called him a quitter. And it seems to be a big thing, especially with people from Hispanic backgrounds. If they get accused of being quitters, it becomes a thing. And obviously Garcia has Mexican roots. So, you know, I don't know if that's got something to do with it, but I just found it very interesting that Chavez Sr. had so much to say and was so opinionated and outraged by it all when he himself quit against Oscar De La Hoya in 1998. But there you go, that's just what I think. If you agree, that's fine. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. It's just an interesting thing, and I just thought about it. So, right, I'll let you get on with your evenings. Take care, folks, and I'll speak to you soon.